Okay, for this problem here, we're in section 6.1, the standard normal distribution. This one says here, Jerome averages 16 points a game with a standard deviation of 4 points. So here emphasizing on the random variable with the notation again that we're saying that x is normally distributed, that's what the n means, and that first number there, that's mu, that's the population mean, and then sigma is the 4 for the population standard deviation. If someone has x is equal to 10, and how would we interpret that in terms of the two parameters? Notice that it's below the mean of 16, and so that means that when we do that math, we're going to get a negative value for the z-score conversion. So let's go grab a calculator and do that. So we'll take that 10 points minus the 16, and then divide by 4 for the standard deviation, and you notice you get a negative this case. And so it's going to be a negative because, again, that's below. Anytime you get a data value that's below the mean, always the z-score conversion is negative. So here would say that that x is equal to 10 is 1.5 standard deviations, but it's below the mean because of the negative. So you want to say that that is below the mean. And what is the mean? The mean is the 16 points. So again, to recap this problem, if someone has a score of 10 points, then when we do the math and take 10 minus the mean and then divide by the standard deviation, we notice that we get a value of negative 1.5. But we want to interpret that in two ways. And the first way is with that negative. So the negative implies that this is below the mean. And we can verify that because 10 is less than 16. And then the other part too is dealing with that 1.5, and the 1.5 counts how many standard deviations. So we want to emphasize and say that the 10 points is 1.5 standard deviations below the mean. So this part with the negative here emphasizes that the concept below, but the 1.5 is counting those number of standard deviations. It's counting how many of these, here, let's go back to that, how many of those 4s are there. And so we have 1.5 4s. That's the interpretation of the 10 points compared to 16. So that'll do it here for this problem for section 6.1, z-score conversions.